Hey guys, it's Holly. So today I just wanted to sit down and really just relax just a tiny bit. So I went on Instagram and also onto the channel's community tab and asked you guys if you've got any questions for me. Personally, I really like the Instagram filter that I found to ask this question. In fact, someone asked if it was real. Absolutely not. I wish it was, but you know, sometimes you don't get what you want in life. But I went through and I picked out some of my favorites, so let's get into it. Do you have any big regrets in buying / selling Lego? There are two that specifically come to mind. I did make an entire video about sort of like my Lego regrets a couple of months ago, but there's been a few since then. I just feel like recently, like I went through all of my Lego collection and I realized that there are so many sets that I bought just because it was like a super good deal, or I was like, oh, this would be like good for parts or things like that. And then I just looked at it and I'm like, I don't need this. So I got rid of a ton of stuff. One thing that I do regret buying and I'm still regretting and trying to get rid of are my whole box of Harry Potter CMFs. I bought a whole box. I had a set for reviewing. I kept a couple of extras and now I've just got tons of them. So honestly, I'll probably end up bringing like quite a lot to Brickworld Chicago and try and get rid of them there. In terms of selling though, one thing that I regret majorly is the Isla de Muerta. Basically just my Pirates of the Caribbean sets in general. I mean, especially since I've got like really old reviews on them, like it feels kind of sad that I've let go of them and they just keep going up. I'm looking to try and repurchase them, but they're expensive. I don't know how far we'll get with that. Are you going to school? And if so, how's it going? Okay, so I've been doing like this web design, like diploma degree thing. It's sort of like a community college program type of thing. And I'm supposed to finish at the end of March and it's going horribly. I am like really far behind. I have so much to do, and then on top of like all of the videos that I'm trying to make and the fact that I'm going away, it's a lot. So I've completely cut down streaming on my gaming channel. So for anyone who follows me on there, I'm sorry. I have just got so much to do. I'm probably going to cut down streaming on the main channel as well and maybe not upload quite as regularly, especially towards the end of March. So if that ends up happening, you know why, because I'm just on the hustle, the education grind. Why did you originally quit YouTube? To be completely honest, there was no real reason per se. I mean, some of the things that affected it is that I sort of went into my Lego Dark Ages and just didn't buy enough stuff. My parents kept telling me that no, you're in high school now, you're not buying Lego, and then if I did, I had to like use it with my own money, which I wasn't getting very frequently. So I just sort of stopped buying things, so I didn't have as much content to make. But also, I feel like my passion just sort of died down. Like I never intended, like I know when I stopped, like I never thought that I would come back per se either. I feel like I just sort of happened. It was a very much like right place, right time sort of thing. Though I did continue to make videos and edit videos and film a lot of my life sort of in that period, but just none of it was Lego related. None of it was uploaded to this channel. It exists, but it's not here. What's the best part about being a content creator? There's a couple of things that come to mind. My sort of just goal in general is to entertain people. If I can make someone smile or laugh, or you just like feel generally like entertained or enjoy yourself watching a video or a live stream, then I've done my job. So hearing comments about like how someone was laughing or they really enjoyed this certain section or it brightened their day honestly mean the most to me, and just seeing that reaction out of people and hearing about it makes me really happy. Another thing that I love about being a content creator is just, I mean, I guess it's the same thing, seeing people sort of enjoy your work. Like if I've spent hours on a video and I see that it's like #1 out of like my most recent videos, and it makes me feel really happy. I'm like, okay, people are enjoying what I'm making. The other thing that I really like is just that I've got the freedom to make and do whatever I want. I mean, a lot of the time, some people just really don't want to watch that and then you feel kind of bad. But essentially, I have the freedom to make things in the way that I want to make them, however I want to make them, at whatever time. And I really like that freedom personally. Like I always get scared if I'm doing like work for someone, like is it good enough? Am I doing it right? So sort of being able to control that within myself is really good. Like I could just stick like a frog gif at the bottom of the screen right now and be fine. Like I put kazoo music in the like last few videos that I've done. I feel like this one's quite relevant considering the latest set reveal, but why Why do you hate Lego mechs so much? There are some really dope ones. Now, I personally don't have a problem with the way that mechs are built, contrary to popular belief. I mean, I know my video really didn't make it seem that way. For anyone who doesn't know what video I'm talking about, I made a video about how Lego Marvel has a mech problem. There are just so many mechs, there is not enough variety, and lo and behold, we got another Marvel mech. Now, the problem that I have is specifically with Marvel for the most part. Marvel just keeps pumping out mechs and they are all the exact same design, just with like a couple of different features. Like they all have the same feet, they also have the same joints, or like the torso build. Majority of the pieces are exactly the same and it just feels incredibly repetitive. And that's the problem. If it was only like 1 or 2 a year, that's fine. Like I liked the What If mechs, but by the time we'd sort of gotten to that point in the year when they released, we'd had too many already that I was just bored of them. Like same deal goes. Currently we've had 7 sets be officially revealed for Marvel this year, not including like the 4+ Spider-Man, because like I don't count them. And 5 of them are a mech and 4 of them are just the same mech design but in a different package. It just gets really repetitive, and honestly I haven't been buying many Marvel sets because of that. I just don't want the same mech over and over and over again. That being said, there are some really great Marvel mech builds. I personally really liked the Hydra Stomper last year, as well as the Ironmonger, even though it was a tiny bit too big. Inarisham Shadow was really cool as well, except for like his legs, they felt sort of weird. Overall, there's a lot of really solid sets. It's just a bit much. I really liked this question. Would you change your birth name if you could? Honestly, years ago, if you asked me this, I would say yes. I don't know what it was. I just didn't like my name. I feel like Holly isn't really too common, which I quite appreciate. Honestly, I only really knew 2 other Hollys that like went to my high school. Besides that, like, I don't really feel like it's a pretty common name. So for that reason, I really like it. Although, I don't know, I just feel like it wasn't that cool per se, but I've completely changed my mind now. I'm like, I'm really proud of who I am and who I am as a person, and I feel really confident in myself, and I feel like a lot of that as well does come along with my name. But yeah, I definitely wanted to change it years ago. What to? No idea. I threw around with the idea of Yasmin for some reason. I guess I was just really into Bratz. Do you have any channel goals you wish to accomplish this year? By the way, love your content. Thank you so much, Lego Potter fan. I do, one of which we actually hit yesterday. Thank you guys so much for 40,000. One of my biggest goals this year was to get to 50,000, and knowing that I'm 10,000 away is insane, because I told myself that I would open up the 2011 Diagon Alley at that point and do a live stream series and just make a really big thing out of it, because a set like that I've been after for so many years, it needed some big moment, and I feel like 50k would be that. It's also halfway to 100k, which has always been like a really long-term goal. Whether or not I hit it is a different question, but that's always been a big thing for me. I would love to have a play button. I think it would be really cool, but just some more smaller goals is that I want to just make sure that I'm making a lot more content that I feel like I'm incredibly proud of. Like put in more effort, utilize my green screen a bit more, utilize sound effects, and just make the overall quality better. I really want to get some like proper lights as well, because like currently I'm using like Philips Hue bulbs in just like regular lamps, and like it works pretty well, to be completely honest, and I love the fact that I can change the colors. But I would really like some like proper studio lights just to sort of up the content. Like I just don't want to stop improving, and that's like my biggest goal, is that I just want to keep getting better and better and better, because if I'm not improving, then I'm not pushing myself, and I don't want to get comfortable in my content. Like you've always got to change on a platform like this. Toby, Andrew, or Tom, just one. Oh, 100% it's Andrew Garfield. No questions asked. 12-year-old me would be really disappointed if I said anyone else. What is your dream Lego set that is not Harry Potter or Marvel? I feel like quite a few people are in the same boat with me with this one. Pun unintended, but also kind of intended, I guess, and that is the Flying Dutchman. I remember when Pirates of the Caribbean came out, I lost my absolute marbles. I always wanted the Queen Anne's Revenge. I just loved the Angelica figure. I thought her hair hat combination was magnificent. One of my friends at the time as well did have that set, and I loved seeing it all built up. And then my best friend owns the Black Pearl, and that was another set that I really wanted. I loved it, but it was just a lot of money and my parents wouldn't let me have it. So instead I sort of settled with Whitecap Bay. And I remember way back when Crusoe was still the name of Lego Ideas, so many people were submitting Flying Dutchmans and they all looked insane. There are so many incredible mocks, and I just don't understand why Lego didn't do it when they did the Silent Mary. Like doing a Flying Dutchman alongside that would have been perfect, especially since Shanghai Disneyland's got this like amazing Davy Jones, like Pirates of the Caribbean ride thing. I really want a Flying Dutchman one day. Do I think we're gonna get it? Honestly, no, which like breaks my heart. So I guess I'll just settle for the Black Pearl. Top 5 favorite LEGO SpiderMan sets. Okay, well, I mean, the top 2 are really, really easy for me, and that is the Daily Bugle and the Ultimate Bridge Battle. Now, the remaining 3, honestly, it's kind of hard because I don't really buy LEGO SpiderMan sets. I feel like a lot of the play sets are just too, I want to say, young for me, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that this build isn't something that I'm particularly interested in collecting. A lot of the time it comes down to the minifigures. But one that really caught my eye and I think looks really cool and that I want to put at number 3 is the Venomsaurus build. That thing just looked insane. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I really like the overall design of it. Next up as well, I do want to put the original Daily Bugle. I thought that set was insane. The fact that you had Doctor Doom and Nova were really, really big wins. And one day I'd like to try and get that set, though I'm not too fussed on it. And then 5th, I really like the original Ghost Rider set with the Ghost Rider like motorbike and the Hobgoblin. I don't know what it is. It's very simple, very basic. I love the little street corner. I mean, I just love like little pieces of New York like that. But also the Ghost Rider bike looked incredible. The Ghost Rider figure, the Hobgoblin figure. It was just a really big win. Honestly, that year, big win for Spider-Man sets overall. When will you stream on Holly Can't Game again, and are you gonna buy Boba Fett's Palace? I mean, I wanna try and do a stream this weekend, but I've gotta get my assignments done, or at least started first. And they'll either be Fortnite or The Sims. I'm really in a Sims mood recently. And as for Boba's Palace, when it was rumored, I was all in for it. And then I saw photos of it and I instantly went and bought the 2012 Jabba's Palace because I was like, why would I spend 180 Australian dollars on a set that I'm not 100% sold on, whereas if I spend like an extra 80 or 100 at this point, I can get a set that one, I sort of genuinely love and appreciate a lot better, but also in my opinion has more exciting figures for me. Don't get me wrong, Boba's Palace figures look incredible besides the fact that Fennec doesn't come with her helmet. I really like them, but I'm not gonna buy a set just for the minifigures like that when the build just feels really weak and really odd. I don't get why the grate is just like in the middle. What Harry Potter set do you want most to be made? And I mean, it's not even a set. I just want this one location. I mean, technically if we're going set wise, I can describe it in detail for you. And that is by far Gringotts. I mean, I've talked about it so many times at this point. I feel like it is the equivalent for me of like Commander Cody, or what I guess the Daily Bugle is to Marvel fans. What other like Marvel sets are like a really big deal to people? It's like if DC fans got like a DC building, like a Hall of Justice or something like that. Like that's what Gringotts is to me. It is that one set that I just ultimately really want. I want it to fit in with my Diagon Alley. Ideally, I want it to have the Ukrainian Iron Belly and actually just represent the Deathly Hallows. I'd love it for it to have a cave system with like a ton of vaults and just be like incredibly detailed and all just like completely open up and be this very grand and beautiful and big and magnificent set. And I'm really scared that LEGO's not going to do it, or if they do make Gringotts, that it's not going to be the Deathly Hallows and it's going to be Philosopher's Stone based again. And I feel like that is the biggest missed opportunity because I just look at Universal Orlando and I'm like, the dragon's right on the top. The whole ride is filmed around sort of like the Deathly Hallows era. Like it would just be so good on display, but also be like this incredible play set. And it makes me incredibly nervous for the future, but that's what I want. That's more than anything. If we got that and then the theme ended immediately after, I would not care. I mean, I would, but like... Opinions on Mando's Naboo Starfighter. I personally really love this set. I feel like it's not completely overpriced for what it is. I mean, it's gonna be 100 Australian dollars, which is a lot, but then again, I spent that on Clone Trooper packs, so it feels a tiny bit more justified with this. I really like some of the mocks that people made, and I definitely think that some of them are better, but then again, LEGO's is gonna be more stable, it's gonna be a bit better. The only thing I really don't like about it, looking at the images, is the tail at the back. Like, it feels a tiny bit gappy. Besides that, I love it. I will be buying that day one. I'm really, really excited for that set, and I'm so glad that they're doing it now as well and that we don't have to wait ages. I want to get a stand for it. I want to prop it up. I want to put it on display. It's gorgeous. I love it. What's the most disappointed you've been by a fake leak? I mean, I feel like a lot of people always think about like Peach's Castle and all that. No, I'm gonna take it back. So I don't know how many people know of this story or were like around, but it was 2020, right? And like I'm getting like really into it. Like I'm reading Eurobricks all the time. I'm like really into like Lego leaks on Instagram and all of that. And there was this one user called King like No. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, King No, and he was posting all of these like Harry Potter leaks, and he just appeared out of nowhere, and everyone on Eurobricks is like debating whether he's real or not, like whether he's like telling the truth or whether it's fake, and like people are taking this stuff as the gospel. He's talking about like Grimmauld Place and how the advent calendar is going to be Order of the Phoenix themed, and just like a ton of lies. But then I think there was like one authentic thing, or at least one that he got somehow correct out of his guesses, sort of thrown in there, and like everyone lost their marbles. And like I believed some of them. I can't remember like a specific one that I believed and were disappointed by. I feel like Grimmauld Place turning out to be false was like one of those things, but it was just this insane thing. It was like a conspiracy theory, and then people called him out, and he turned out to be a fake, and I don't know what happened to him after that, but it was a thing. It's like all documented on like the Eurobricks forums as well, if anyone wants to read into that. And let me know if you as well like followed all of this. I feel like it was a thing, but like it was a thing only if you were like a really, really hardcore Lego Harry Potter fan. So I don't know how many people know about this, but there you go. That was the most disappointing Lego leak ever. Which would you rather be discontinued? Harry Potter, Star Wars, Marvel, or City? I mean, I feel like a lot of people are gonna think that I'm gonna say City. Honestly, Harry Potter. Now, I know this is controversial, don't get me wrong. I love Lego Harry Potter, and I was heartbroken when it got discontinued back in 2011. However, Star Wars is still getting new content. Marvel as well is getting new content. Lego City is a staple. Like, I just don't think you could ever get rid of Lego City. Harry Potter, outside of Fantastic Beasts, nothing new is ever appearing. So, idea, in like 5 years time, after we've made everything we possibly can, we've got Gringotts, we've got Grimmauld Place, we've got remakes of the Shrieking Shack and the Dumbstrung Ship, and we've got every single task from the Goblet of Fire, and we've got like a modular Honeydukes and things like that, and we've gotten just everything, Ministry of Magic, tons of dragons. It's like, once we get to that point and we've remade everything's the best it can be, the minifigures can't get any better, then you can retire it. Once we've gotten everything, once it's all complete, because I don't need 5 Hogwarts Expresses. I don't need 27 Hogwarts castles, which at this point I'm probably gonna end up with anyway. So I feel like at that point you could retire it. Like Marvel's constantly got stuff that you could go back to, but also some new stuff coming out. Same with Star Wars. I mean, then again, I don't think Star Wars is like ever gonna end the amount of remakes we get, and Harry Potter could honestly become like that. But if we got everything from Harry Potter and it retired, I would be upset, but I'd also be kind of happy at the same time, because we've gotten everything we sort of needed. As I've seen you buy all the recent modulars lately, I'm curious, plans to start a small city, or what about a shelf like High Tea Toys? You could maybe put it in your media room. There is like, I have plans for a city, but not anytime soon. Currently, I want to just have like a little street front, which I personally feel like is the way to go. I watched Josh Build Stuff video about how he never wants to make a city or reasons why he's not going to make one, and honestly, it hit really close to home. I realized that I'm not a person that can have a horizontal city like Brixie or Emmasaurus. I can't do that. I feel like it would drive me insane. For me personally, I feel like I would just freak out at the like idea of how much space is just like underutilized. Like, yes, you can shove things under the tables, but it also sort of looks really hard to like navigate and actually set up. Like, I would much rather just like build myself like a street front and exactly do what High Tea Toy does and Shy Time is My Time and do a vertical city and just have like a shelf or like a really long shelf and have like a street or something like that. So currently my plan at the moment is just to, you can't even see it, my suitcase is in the way, is just to sort of like place them in my little shelf here and then like fill it out with all of the minifigures. This one's a little can of worms and I'm honestly kind of excited to answer this. What do you think about LEGO's attitude towards Star Wars fans? Firstly, I think the designers have slipped up a lot and have really upset a lot of Star Wars fans and just overall not left a good impression. Do I think that it was intentional? Absolutely not. But I think by the sounds of things, they are much more fans of the original trilogy than the prequels. So when all the prequel stuff comes around and the Clone Wars and all of those types of sets, even I guess the Mandalorian stuff, it just seems like they don't know enough, or I guess sort of like care to an extent into some things. And it just feels like there's a real disconnect between what the designers are trying to make and what a lot of fans want. There are tons of Star Wars fans. There are people who love the sequels. There are people who love the original trilogy. There are people who love the prequels, and you gotta try and please them all. And we're at this really weird point now where it's like all of like the hardcore prequel fans have grown up. They've got disposable income. Like they are buying big D2C sets, which for the most part hasn't happened for a long time. The prequels were hated, and the only people sort of buying those sets for the most part were just people in like their 30s or 40s who had been working stable jobs and had the money to be able to afford that. So it's weird sort of having like another group sort of brought in now, because now the balance just feels completely off, and they want a ton of prequel sets, they want a ton of Clone Wars sets, and then when they happen, it just feels like a letdown because all of the stuff that people are really hoping for and wanting the most just doesn't seem to appear. And I feel like that same thing's gonna happen in like 10, 15 years when all of the sequel kids grow up. So I feel like just Lego Star Wars in general needs to have like a better balance of just all of the media and all of the content that exists from Star Wars. It's a very big universe. There's a lot of stuff. And I feel like as well, there needs to be a good balance between stuff that maybe the designers or just, I don't know what other Lego teams there are who are like pitching this stuff want, and also what the hardcore fans really want. I mean, there is a huge internet presence, and not that they're the entire Lego Star Wars community, but they are a significant portion of it. Just all of us chilling out here on the internet. But yeah, I just feel like the Lego designers, they've hurt quite a lot of Lego Star Wars fans. Probably have a little bit of damage control to a lot of them, but also there's going to be a large portion of Lego Star Wars fans that just have no clue what happened. And the last question is one that I got asked several times, and that is, besides the Daily Bugle and the Web Warriors bridge battle, what is your favorite Marvel set? Now, this is difficult. And there's a couple that I want to pick from, most of which I don't own. The first one is the original 2012 Quinjet. I really love the design of that ship. I think it looks incredible. I think it was like a really good scale. However, never built it. Don't know what it's like. Second is the airport battle, though I think I just like that from like my nostalgia of like always wanting that set, because I sort of look at it now and I'm like, it doesn't feel that great. So the set that I want to say is like my next Marvel set is one that I didn't even plan on buying when I did, and that was last year's Benatar. That ship is gorgeous. It is so well built. It is so clean, so beautiful, and I paid full price for that, and I do not regret a single thing. Unfortunately, it's very large though, so I don't really have the space to display it. So it's currently in a drawer under my bed, like half broken up, but I love that thing. The fact that I can fit all of the Guardians inside it as well is a really big win. The minifigures were amazing, and just the ship is so gorgeous, and like it's not a D2C price point either, which I think is a huge win. If you haven't picked that set up, I've seen it like on sale several times now. Please do not skip it. It's really good, I promise. So those are all of the questions that I've got for you guys today. If you want to ask me a question in the next one, make sure you're following me on Instagram, because usually I'll go and ask in there, but I will also ask on the community tab in case you don't have an account. Thank you so much to everyone who did ask me a question. I read through them all. I really appreciate it. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below. I promise you the LEGO Harry Potter reviews will be coming out soon. I just have to wait for LAN. But if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later.